Hey there, Sart here. So I was playing around with a different team today, um, and I think I found a team that actually does a fair bit better than my dark team that I showed you guys yesterday. I wanted to try a team that didn't rely on Melissa, just in case she didn't pull for. I know, she was a kind of like an on the fence type of unit for a lot of people, and there are probably a lot of people sort of waiting to see if they think she'll be worth it. So if you don't have Melissa, you can use this strategy that I'm going to show you, and in fact, it does even better than we did with my Melissa clear. So let's get in here. I'm gonna I'm gonna stay true to my word, and I'm gonna show you the gear beforehand. So we're going with a lightning team this time. If you have you see I've got my Mastermind Zon in there. He's there specifically because I don't have Ihana, who does the 250% human killers, and so I'm gonna need to have Zon steal 2B's 250% human killer and then spread it to the party on the burst turn so that everybody gets the 250% human killer. I haven't used Zon in a Dark Visions in a long time. It was pretty great to see him back in action. He's still fantastic for Dark Visions for the killers, being able to steal killers and buffs and things like that. He's still really awesome for that. So anyways, we're going with a lightning team this time, and in my initial run I did 12.5 billion, so that's like a billion more than I did with my dark team using Melissa. So sorry Melissa, you're on the bench already, I guess, huh? I'm sure she'll definitely be useful in the upcoming Clash of Wills for sure, seeing as that it is a dark weak boss. But for this one we're just going to go with good old lightning. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the gear. The gear is going to look very similar to the gear I used for most of these units in my previous clear. So Cloud doesn't really need anything in his brave or in his normal form, and then in brave shift form, of course, Buster Sword, a couple of Crescent Moon charms, all the high attack gear you can give him, and then yeah, he doesn't really need much to top up his human killer, just his TMR there, and then just some Esper stats and Knights of Grand Shelt Vision card. So he should be topped up on everything. 300 human, yep, full TDH, overcapped on TDH and LB damage there. So don't have to worry too much about that. And that's all he really needs. He's going to use his big 150% lightning amp so that he can compete with 2B on this one. He will probably edge out 2B on the damage on this one. If I had a good AoE light amp for the party, then I would go light element on this one probably. But yeah, it is what it is. All right, here we go. Esther. Esther is just, again, we got a Magistress gear for the chain cap boost. Make sure she's topped up on LB damage, and make sure that she's got all the high attack gear you can stuff in there. She needs a bit of help on human killers because she doesn't have a lot of it innately. And you don't want to give her Diabolos because that reduces her light resistance, which could lead to her taking a little bit more damage on turn 4 than you would like, because actually, now that I think about it, it doesn't do light element on turn 4 anymore because we're not hitting it with dark. So yeah, so you could give her Diabolos actually, and that might make gearing a little bit easier, but she doesn't need it. As you can see, she's got plenty of slots open, so you can give her like an Esper with a higher attack on it, and then just fill her up with killers in the materia. Wilkes card just for the higher attack. So she should be capped on everything. LB damage, human killers, TDH, good to go. In her brave shift form, she doesn't really need much of anything. This is, I think, just leftover gear from a previous clear that I did. Yeah. She doesn't really need much of anything. She's only going to be in her brave shift form for 1 turn, and then she's going to switch right back out of it. All right. Zon, just give him the Zidane's STMR so that he can buff everybody's LB damage up. Then just some MP gear to make sure he can actually cast it, or 3 stars to reduce the cost, because normally it costs 500. You see it says 250 there because he's wearing the 3 stars. That is old Trance Terra's STMR. But yeah, he doesn't really need anything else. All he's going to do is he's going to steal the human killer buff on turn 1, then he's going to sing, and then on turn 5 he's going to spread the human killer buff. That's all he does. It's literally the only thing he's doing on the team here. All right. Sylvie just needs to be your passive provoke. Make sure she has death resist. So that's why she's got safety bit there. She needs that in both forms. Otherwise, the gear is pretty irrelevant. I did gear her for some high spirit and killers in this form, just so she can chip in a little bit of extra damage. It's not gonna make or break your team. If you don't feel like building her for killers, that's fine. The most important thing is just make sure she's passive provoke and death resistant. All right. So she should have 300 human. Yep. So she's good to go there. All right. Wilk is in his normal form. Is irrelevant. Doesn't really matter what you have in his normal form. He can be anything. In his Brave Shift form, just gear him for as much damage. He hits human killer really easily, so you don't have to sweat building him for killers very much. So you can stack more attack in there. So you see, I just gave him some extra Esper stats there. Esther's card just for a high attack card, and yep, he's capped up on everything, ready to go. I so wish that I had Neovision Titus's STMR, because I would put that on him here in this form, so that he gets that extra mod boost to his LB. But unfortunately, I don't. So if you have Titus's STMR for the preemptive LB boost, put that on your Wilk. So that he gets that mod boost to his LB. That will increase his damage significantly. All right, so I forgot 2B. Whew, man. All right, so in her normal form, just as much damage as you can stuff in there, as you can see. She hits human killer innately, so just build her for as much damage as you can in her normal form. You'll see she is capped up on everything, easy peasy. Oh, come on. In her Brave Shift form, doesn't really need anything special here. We're gonna use Sylvie to refill Wilk's LB on turn 2, so we don't need her to do you don't really need the Aurora Scarf. You don't need any of this gear. Just Tyvis's Spirit for the extra mod boost. That's all she really needs. All right, let's get in here and see how we get this done. All right, so turn 1. Oh, before we do anything, Wilk will do his Brave Shifted LB. Just going to do that right off the bat. 2B will just do her True Charge Blade. All right, and this does a 250% human killer. Now, it only lasts for 1 turn. That's why we have Zon. He's going to steal it on this turn, which then extends the buff to himself for an extra 4 turns, and so it'll still be active. He'll still have the 250% killer buff on turn 5, which is when we're going to do our burst, so he can spread it to everybody. All right, so she'll just do True Charge Blade to the killer. All right, Zon will then steal it with Critical Mirror on 2B. Okay. Sylvie we'll do Paladin's offense, Paladin's defense, and I've got your back on Wilk. Esther can just do bolting, bolting, bolting to fill up her LB. Cloud, he can just guard on this turn. All right, she summoned the skeleton. We want to get rid of him because the skeleton puts up mirage stacks. You could theoretically use Zon to get rid of those mirage stacks and then do an but Esther is the only one doing AoE damage on the burst turn, so it's better just to get rid of the skeleton. It just makes life a little bit easier. Same goes for the beast. Just get rid of the beast because their defense and spirit are so insanely high that even with good breaks, it's not actually at, I actually looked at it because in my previous clear with my dark team, I actually did finally get one with the so Esther will do her Omni Cover, Storm Guardian, and True Storm brand. I actually did one and got the curl, and it did not increase my overall damage all that much. And I looked at it and I watched, and you're really not doing that much damage to these to these guys. So yeah, they're very, very bulky. Even though they have very low HP and you can kill them very easily, they're insanely bulky, so you don't actually add that much damage by doing AoE damage to those guys. Alright, Mastermind's on, will sing. 2B is going to triple True Charge Blade to make sure that we kill the skeleton. It is an AoE attack, but it's not going to hurt Ruby Rose because we're not imbued or anything. It's really not going to hurt Ruby that much. You just want to go ahead and get rid of that skeleton. You see how she's doing, like, you see how much more damage she does to Ruby Rose than she does to the skeleton? Yeah, it really just doesn't make any sense to leave those enemies on the field. It gets you like a little bit of extra damage, I guess, but it's really not consequential. Alright, Wilk will do Rock Style Quake Blade. I've got the axe on him just for the higher variants. If you prefer more stable variants because you don't want to do a bunch of rerolls, then give him the Fist. Alright, Sylvie's going to come back into normal form. Alright, she'll do Elemental Vines for the magic mitigation, Compassionate Knight, and Burgeoning Defense. That way Esther takes very minimal damage, if any at all. This turn she's actually going to absorb the lightning damage. One of the nice things about Esther. Alright, now Esther can come back. She's going to go ahead and do her LB to set up the field. Cloud will shift and do Elemental Lightning. Wilk will go ahead and get ready to do his 90% break. We'll let 2B do her LB first. Alright, and now Wilk can do his 90% break. And now Sylvie can shift back. Alright, she'll just do a double clever to help refill 2B's LB, and then Marion's Blessing Lightning to set up the lightning ramp. Okay, now we're just going to set up Tyvus' Spirit on 2B. Wilk will shift to normal and do Memories of the Ancestral Dragon for the mod boost. Sylvie will go ahead and do her LB on this turn so she can actually contribute to the damage on next turn. Cloud will do Elemental Burst, fill LB, and nothing personal for the final mod boost. Esther will just prep for her burst with double bolting and Calm Before the Storm. And you don't have to worry about like pushing thresholds. The boss's AI does not have any like threshold moves or change. Nothing changes when you push thresholds, so just don't kill her. Oh, that did more damage than I thought. Alright, well, no worries. I'm not too worried about it. Now, Zahn will do Projected Mirror. And we're going to shift back to do Rage of the Drakasuth. We'll shift back to normal. Esther will do her LB. Cloud does his LB. Alright, we should be good to go. Paladin Sylvie will triple Clever Paladin Strike. Zahn, Projected Mirror. He'll just go ahead and project. So now everybody has the 250% human killer. You see Esther's got 550, 550, 550, and 550. So we're all good to go. So we'll start Cloud, wait a second, and then send all of our chainers. All right, let's see how we ended up. $12.4, nice. Yeah, my last one was 12.5, so pretty consistent, which is good to see. All right, I hope I didn't take too much damage on that damage score. That didn't happen last time. Oh, good, we didn't. All right, so we didn't take too much damage to lose any damage on the damage received there on turn 4. Something I just thought about that could actually prevent that completely is if you did Rock Style Quake Blade on... If you did that on turn 1, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Esther doesn't take enough damage to make it really worth switching things around, so that strategy should work for you no matter what. Here's the damage breakdown. You see Cloud and 2B carrying the fight easily, both of them doing 4 bill or more each turn. Esther, thanks to having Sylvia on the team, she does a little bit of extra damage now, doing 2.3. Wilk bringing in 1.7. If he had Titus's STMR, he would probably be closer to Esther, doing like probably like 2.3. So you could theoretically do like a 13 billion, maybe like a 13 billion run on this one, if you had a better optimized Wilk. So yeah, just some things to consider, some ways to improve on this team, and yeah, I'm glad that Sylvie was able to see some use. I'm glad I was able to bring Zahn in for a clear. I haven't used him in a while. It's always good to see him come back. He's still overpowered. Love it, love it. All right, I think that's probably the best I can do on this Dark Visions, depending on, maybe we'll get some new unit next week that could improve things. I doubt I'm going to pull on whatever unit comes out next week because, we've got the live stream coming, and I think they're going to announce, I'm assuming they're going to announce leader skills, but that will be, that'll be when Dark Visions is over. It'll actually be at the beginning of Clash of Wills. So I don't think we're going to get leader skills for this Dark Visions event. So, unless Diocese comes out next week, I don't really see any changes in my Dark Visions party. And of course, I spoke too soon in my previous video. Rikku clears are now are now at the top of the charts once again. So I don't expect my score to be in like the top 1,000, probably not even in the top 2,000. The Rikku clears are looking, they're doing like between 15 and 17 billion, probably even higher on like really whaled out teams. So yeah, if you've got Riku's the way to go. But if you don't have Rikku, here is here's another team that you guys can use. And I showed you the gear at the beginning, so I don't have to put in another little link at the bottom this time. So thank you guys for following me. Hope this helps you guys, and I will see you on the other side.